If you have been following, there has been so much volatility in the stock market. Many of the stocks that many investors thought were going to just shoot up straight to the moon, they have gotten a rude awakening with a lot of the volatility caused by the Trump tariff. For those who were enthusiastic about the economy as it took off after the election, there's a lot of unsettling happening right now with a lot of the moves that Trump is doing, and many don't know if this is going to work. Like many of the in the administration have already admitted when asked, could there be a downturn in the stock market? Many of them have never shied away from the question and said there will be some volatility. And that's what I expect over the next few months. So if you are an investor, this is not a time to be fearful, but you have to take the approach that now is the time to be investing. If you're not taking advantage of the fear that's going on in the stock market, you can profit from both sides of the spectrum. Warren Buffett one time said, be greedy when people are fearful, but also he said, be fearful when people are greedy. Now we're looking at that many people have fear in their eyes, don't know where the stock market is going to go, but we are seeing that there are many good things that will come out of the tariffs. It's just a waiting game right now. And we're going to be taking a look at a lot of the economic news that some of the news have been given over the weekend. And it is going to be effective for April the 2nd. The tariff, the day of reconciliation is coming into effect. And we're going to be looking at what the stock market is saying to us from the charts. What is the market feeling like where it could go? Many are seeing that if a lot of the companies that are being taxed, like you're looking at Porsche, now you're looking at a lot of the car makers, a lot of it where they could avoid that tariff is if they bring some of those manufacturing back into the United States. That's the key here. If you have an open opinion, or at least an open thought to see, okay, just look at from a business standpoint what's going on here, you'll see that if this works, and that's a if this works, you're going to see more jobs coming back to the United States that had left during the NAFTA agreements, during a lot of the jobs from the 90s, from a lot of our grandparents, that a lot of their jobs went overseas, back to China, back to Mexico, and other countries. Many of those manufacturing jobs will come back here. And if that happens, that opens up the door for a lot of people for employment. And also, I'm bullish on America. I'm bullish on where the economy is going. I'm bullish on the AI boom. And you have something that Gates has said in a recent interview where he says a lot of the teachers and doctors in 10 years will be obsolete. And a lot of these videos that many of us are going to be watching will be AI based. A lot of the teachings and education that we receive will be AI based in the future. And I really do believe that. Uh, a lot of the diagnoses that many of the general physicians will normally have done, it will be put by an AI. But a lot of the questions that are asked, a lot of the symptoms that you give, and they probably refer you to a specialist, which would most likely be a human being. But you look at the little processes, the little nuances, a lot of the red tape, a lot of the things that just could be a steady eddy a machine can do. That's what's going to take place. And for many teachers and educators, that's going to be a field that's going to be disrupted, along with the taxi cab, along with a lot of these other industries. You're going to see the next multimillionaire and billionaire will build their company through AI. Mark my words, you're going to see a lot of new multimillionaires and billionaires that will build their companies basically by using AI. And we're going to see that a lot prevalent. I'm excited for my daughter's generation who's 9 years old, and many of you here who have kids you already have the entrepreneurial spirit and you're already passing that along onto them. You're going to see that they're just going to keep carrying that torch and moving it forward. And as we look at all these new things and features, as investors, we have to stay on course. And yes, all this stuff is great. Yes, all this stuff is wonderful, but it has not come to pass just yet. AI is still in a great place, but it's still in the infancy of its the max capacity that it can achieve. And we're gonna keep moving. And as leaders, and hopefully that the U.S. continues to be leaders in the AI movement, we can really lead the world in world-class innovative technology, world-class things that have never seen before. And like many of us who grew up watching the Jetsons when we were kids, we're going to see a lot of those things that were once thought were fantasy really come to a reality, all because men and women who have studied themselves, showed themselves approved, and really study about technology. And if you're an engineer, if you God has wired you as an engineer that way, I thank you, because someone like me that's a C student, that's not that bright, but really depends on a lot of the technology that many of you have just built or just keep building upon the shoulders of those that have come before us. So as we move into looking at what the stock market has done, we're looking at real estate also. We'll probably take a look at that later, but real estate still, prices have not dropped. The Fed has not dropped rates. May they drop rates? Maybe later in the summer, but right now it's not looking like that. But it could help if the Fed, Chairman Powell, if they were ease the concerns by lowering and reducing the interest rates. I think that will help jumpstart the economy. But the Fed has to be in sync with the U.S. Treasury Department and be in sync with the Trump administration. So hopefully they play nice, but it's politics. Anything is possible. So you can see that if you take an approach of watching of where the money's moving, and we're gonna go back to that. A lot of people get caught up in the politics. I'm looking at policy. Where's policy going? Where's the money movement going? And if you look at Washington, D.C., and look where the money is moving, you can take an idea, or that educated word, the hypothesis, of where are the next stock leaders are going to be. We're seeing that there's a big push for AI, but not every AI company is going to survive. We see that there's a big push for electric vehicles, but not every electric vehicle is going to survive. So we look at like companies like a Lucid, companies like a Rivian, Tesla. Will they survive? A Fisker has already declared bankruptcy. Will it still survive through namesake, through someone acquiring them? Only time will tell. But what I do love about Tesla is the technology. That's what I love. Tesla is more than just an electric car company. I'm a gas guzzler, but I love investing in the company of Tesla. But not because the electric car. I invest in Tesla because of the technology that it has, and I believe that he is, Elon Musk is the Tom Edison of our day. And you have to respect the work and the gift that God has placed upon him, and really see that he is really anointed by God for such a time as this. Elon Musk is really a once in a lifetime generational gift that God gives to humanity. And he really is. I also believe the same way about many other leaders like a Jeff Bezos, like many other innovators. But Elon Musk is in a class by himself. He's in a class by himself. So I really love what he means to our country, what he means to the future of innovation, and what he's going to mean to the millions of kids that he'll inspire throughout the years. And even when he's gone and long gone and been gone home to be with God, that his work and the innovations that he had, that many people could build upon his shoulders and just excel far than you can ever go. So I'm going to go share my screen. We want to go look at the S&P, and let's look at that. Look at trading view right here. And we're looking at the S&P 500, the SP. Let's go right here, SPX. So we're looking at a year chart here, and right now it's at 5,000. Well, we at 580, and I want you to look at this chart right here. I'm looking at this stock. Could it stay here? Yeah, it could. But this right here, if the stock continues to fall down, you're going to see that the next leg is going to be around this 5,100, this 5,200 range, 5,186 range. If the S&P keeps continuing to fall, but is going to go where it was around August of last year. Now, if it keeps going past that past that point, this would be my first target. If I had a second target, I would look at this 490, 4,900, that 5,000 mark would be one of the my second target leg if the S&P 500 continues to fall. The S&P 500 has always been the barometer of where the nation is economically. It controls at least it follows the 500 top companies of the United States by market cap, and it's really the bellwether. Many the Dow Jones gets the status of being the elder statesman, but really, what many people, when they look at the stock market and they look at the movement, they always compare it to the S&P 500. Right now, the S&P 500 is not really giving us every confidence that it's we're going straight up. We're seeing a lot of movements here that are just not really conducive. We're not seeing this right here. It's I don't it's not giving me a up, it's giving me more of a down movement. Right here, we're just going down here. So Nasdaq, look at the Nasdaq 100. Let me go on a 5-year scale. So Nasdaq again, it almost mirroring like right here, these patterns right here. This was the Nasdaq. If it falls down, I'm looking around this 15,000 range. I mean, that 16,000. The Nasdaq, when it falls, it falls. You got a lot of tech heavy. The Magnificent Seven is tech heavy, so you're gonna see this one take the biggest hit if we continue to fall. My opinion, and this is just opinion only, I believe our downturn we're gonna be seeing uh, a topsy turvy type of period from now until around September or October. Once we start seeing like the Q3 earnings, once we start seeing the Q4 earnings from many of these companies, that's when I believe many people are going to start saying, okay, the economy is in good footing. But until then, until we start hearing the same rhetoric here, we're really not. I think we're just going to be in a no man's land with a lot of volatility. But if you're a savvy trader, this is where you might have to be day trading and or at least swing trading, where you're playing the up or downside of the market. So let's look at some of the news that's been happening. I'm gonna update this. Let's go refresh this. But you look at many of you saw that Elon Musk, he has purchased. Let me go to the where was it at? Let me go to CNBC. Here we go. Elon Musk says that AI, XAI has acquired X in a deal that values a social media site at 33 billion. So now you're basically now is an equity play here. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of integration of Grok, Grok X. I'm really excited about it. I mean, I'm still learning AI. I'm not as proficient as a lot of the younger folks, but I use it in a lot of my videos, especially with like many of the implementation that's here. But AI is here to stay. And think of AI as having a business partner, but a very smart business partner that you can really relate to. So we're looking at that. So that's one thing that will probably impact the markets. We're looking at here Tesla, always my favorite. We'll look at the stock in a bit. JD Vance, a lot of this European, this is what drives the stock market, especially with futures and stuff like that. JD Vance accuses Denmark of failing to keep Greenland secure as he slams Europe. A lot of this rhetoric with Greenland and a lot of these other countries, volatility is good. It's almost like a lot of many people have said, don't waste a crisis. And a lot of this crisis, as a trader, you need to take advantage of. Don't lose or don't miss an opportunity for crisis for fear. Many people have fear when they hear about what's happening in the stock market, when you should actually be the opposite. You should be greedy right now. You should be taking advantage of the volatility. You should be taking advantage of the uneducated. You should be taking advantage and taking your piece of the pie. You should be taking advantage of all these big conglomerates taking your money. So that's where I like this volatility. So we look at world news, car prices. You're looking at many manufacturers like Honda, Porsche, Acura, Toyota. Really, a lot of these companies are going to bring their manufacturing back to the United States. It's just going to be cheaper for them. They're not going to be rolling in the profits like they were just accustomed to. How we've just given them money. A lot of the Bill Clinton NAFTA agreement was a disaster for the American people, for the working class. A lot of the working class paid the price for that one. Uh, Commuter, I mean, again, political stuff, blah, blah, blah. Political Vanguard expired patent may go. Let's see. Let's see what's other market news. Let's see business economy. Consumer sentiment worsens as inflation fears growth. I mean, how do you guys feel about inflation? I mean, inflation is what for many people is keeping them poor. Like me, inflation has impacted me like many of you here. Like what we used to pay for, like my grocery bill has almost tripled. I mean, we're not, we don't eat a like junk food or stuff like that. I mean, like everything has gone up, even for bare necessities. You see how the average American has had to like choose like between like healthy food and junk food. I mean, you have to, the choices for some are, they don't have any choices. Really, when they look at it, they have to go with the cheaper food. And for you have so many seniors that are having to decide between food and medication. Really, it's a travesty. It's a travesty that someone has to decide whether food or whether they have medication. I mean, I really do hope that the administration helps with many of the seniors that they've promised these things to. A lot of these seniors, you know, when you're promised something, you know, you hold on to that, and that's the American dream. So I believe that we will come back from that. I believe that we will uh, uh, kind of bounce back from this downturn, but it's not going to be an overnight solution. That's the thing that many people have to understand. A lot of this thing is going to take time to really get this, steer this ship back. We've printed so much money. It is incredible the amount of money we printed over the last 16 years, and to a tune that we are having to do something. If not, we're no longer going to have a country. It's like kind of a country can go bankrupt. You no longer can be a world leader if you're going bankrupt. And that's what happened to Rome. That's what happened to many of the empires that have come before us. And we are falling into the same trap. So a lot of that we need to fix. So let's look at back at Yahoo Finance, and let's do a so home builders face muted spring selling season. Of course, a lot of that home builders face that. It has to do with interest rates. You gotta, the Federal Reserve is not helping. This is something that the Federal Reserve should be working hand in hand with the Trump administration, but they seem not to really care. Tesla, American-made cars won't be hit as hard by auto tariffs, and that's what's gonna, like Ford should see a boost. Chevy, A lot of GM manufacturing, they should see a boost where you're going to be seeing a lot of expensive cars go. You're looking at your Porsche, you're looking at your expensive cars, your Audis, anything like that, Mercedes Benz. Even though Mercedes Benz does have a few manufacturing companies, I believe in Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. So looking over here, Tesla, Intel CEO might be his last chance for underground. This stock right here, I have a lot of people that are really, really interested in Intel stock. Like Intel stock is one of those that is just bad leadership. That's is just bad leadership. Is just bad leadership. Right now, that's a $22 stock. Let's look at this stock right now. But you have a lot of bad leadership here, and hopefully they can turn stuff around. Let's go from a PE ratio where we at. PE ratio trailing 10, we're losing money. So this is really an interesting play right here. This company at one time was a darling, but this is what happened when you have people who are smart but have no business sense running a company. And it's almost like they hire past their level of competence because they're afraid if they hire people smarter than them, they'll get ousted out of their position. And I've worked for several companies like that, and it's really terrible policy to do that. But Intel, I really believe that this could be a company if the leadership picks in, but again, a leadership issue. Let's go news, latest stock market. Tariffs of ease, slow semiconductor expansion. Uh, this right here, Trump recession, is it worth it? I think so. Can Trump boost manufacturing without Wall Street? The America First experiment. I believe this would be it. This is what he's doing with the tariffs. Manufacturing will come back if these countries are forced to bring their companies back. And I think this is the biggest key for this story right here. But other than that, I'm gonna go look at some stocks with you guys. Let's look at stocks that we look at every week. Let's focus on those. Let's go to my baby right here, Tesla. Tesla. Tesla right here is I expect this stock to go continue to go down. I know I loved Tesla. I love me some Tesla. I own the stock, but I'm also playing the downside right now because it just behooves me. I mean, I'd be crazy not to do that right now. So as also as an insurance, but also this stock could go back down to 160, 166. If Tesla continues its climb down, I believe it'll go back to 202. If it passes the 202, it's going to go to 166. Now, if Tesla bounces up from here, that's a if. If it bounces up, then 300 is the next mark. That's the catalyst right there. After 300, then I'll go to the 350, 377 range. I mean, it's just what it is. That's Tesla. Anyone who trades Tesla knows that. So right now is by the time we go back to 476, 475, it's gonna have to be by Q3, Q4, or maybe next year. Sorry. I know we were hoping. I was hoping that this would be, but I really do think this stock is an $850 stock. It's just from a logical perspective, any stock that splits generally goes back to the price where it split from 2 to 3 years later. So I'm playing on that. So if you play the long term with Tesla on stock, I think you'll end up doing well. If you're doing options, you have to be a swing trader with Tesla. Expect it to go up. I expect more volatility for Tesla only because he's gonna continue to find dirt on all this fraud that he's uncovering. And you're going to see is how many people are paid under the table with taxpayer dollars. So this is uncovering a lot of waste. And it's think of it as if you owned a business but you had an employee that kept taking the paper products, lunch, food, all that stuff. In several years, you that's several hundreds of thousands of dollars by that one employee. That's theft. And in the government, you have that times 100, where you have people who are not working, who are really the ones that play the disruptors in a lot of these political parties in both the Republican and the Democratic Party. A lot of these people, they get their family and their friends and members, and they give them government jobs only so they could disrupt and be part of their political scheme, so they can just keep their positions. It's uncovering a lot of the fraud and waste that has been happening in Washington D.C. is really being uncovered, and Tesla and Elon Musk is going to be taking the brunt of it. I mean, God bless him. I pray a covering over him. But he's exposing that. And when you're exposing those things right now, you start seeing that people are going to hate you, and they're going to not want that honeycomb to end. So they're going to fight him tooth and nail. Best believe that. This 164, if it continues, there's 103 would be third target. So if it continues to fall, 200 is my first target. If it continues to fall before that, it's my second target will be in the 160 range. And if it continues, my third target will be the 103 range. So Tesla, I love you, but you're hurting right now. Nvidia, another one right here that's testing this 110 that's 110 105 mark, really is testing it. And a lot of traders who are bullish on Nvidia, I still think this stock has a great problem. This stock has a phenomenal problem, which is that it actually has more orders and inventory, or as far as not inventory, but more orders than it actually has product. That's a great problem to have. And they also have a competitive advantage versus any other AI company in the planet right now. Until someone can find a way to do it cheaper and faster and better than NVIDIA, they really don't have a chance. So NVIDIA is the leader right now. You got to respect what Jensen has done. He's done a phenomenal work in his company. So the stock is at 109, but it keeps fluctuating. This 105, 10, this range right here, this 95, this 10-point spread right here, 15 point. It's kind of like it's in no man's land there. Now, if you're looking at this stock long term, and that's everyone is a different type of trader here. If you're looking long term, I mean, to me, is if you're holding for 10, 15 years, this stock is going to be crushing it. So, that's a personal opinion, and I know not many people think that way, but that's the way I think. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, of course, is my man. It's hitting this trend line right here. Will it bounce off this 192? I don't know. I think it will, but it's testing it. It's testing. I drew that line there. If it passes this line, this you look for this 170 range to be a next test. That would be the next test for me, is that 170 range, 170, 171. That would be the next range for Amazon. I'm still bullish on this, but also you got to play what the stock is giving you. And also, I'm believing that we will go down, keep going down in the stock market, regardless of what news comes out. So, AMD, uh, eh, you've been okay. AMD's been one of those. It's been 103. Many people were predicting that it was going to rise. When it rose right here from 103, everybody was a genius. And then as it came back down, those same people saying buy again. Okay, I get that. I mean, Tesla's done that to me. Um, I'm never perfect, but yeah, AMD has been not the greatest one for me. So, uh, eh, Ford, another one. Ford is another one that has broken this channel that it has been doing for the last 2 years. So this one is. I talked about this in a previous post that if you love the stock, I have this in my portfolio. If it wasn't for the dividend, it'd be a straight dud. But if you like this stock, I believe, and this is personal opinion, from the tariff, Ford will see a little pickup in purchases of their car. It's going to be a lot cheaper for Ford. And if they play their cards right, I'll be offering specials on their trucks to get people to incentivize to buy. Now, if this is a stock that you like and think that it will continue to decline because they still have lost money from the electric vehicle, they still have done that. You can't ignore that. So I would think is a strategy like cash secure puts, something like that, where you could buy the stock at 7, $6, or $5. That's not a not a bad play on this type of stock. Plus, you don't need some huge account to do that with. With a $5,000 account, $2,500 account, you could do some cash secure puts with most brokers. So you look at that. That might be a play. Ford, I love you, but not really. SPY following the S&P 500. You're gonna kind of see the same. We're resting right here. We're seeing where we go. We're resting right here, seeing where we go, and I don't know. No man's land. Meta again hit this trend line right here, falling right there. Will it continue to fall? No one knows, but it all depends on what happens over tomorrow. Anything could happen in the next 24 hours before the futures start kicking in on Sunday night. But this is another one that if it continues to fall, expect it to go to this four. It'll test this 530 range, but if it goes past 530, you're gonna look at the 442 400 mark is the next one. So you're kind of seeing that the trends that most of the stocks are the same. Diamonds basically looks just like the S&P SPY, basically like that M pattern. Everyone is in a holding pattern to see what is going to do. Not really much going. Russell 2000 again, for credit spreads. I mean, you've been having to play the long game. You've been having to play under that that $1,600 range. So any move that happens towards the downside, I will be looking for a bear bull put spread on this one. I mean, the bear call spreads, unless you get a nice move to the upside, good luck on that one. Tesla, we already went through Tesla. Let's look at some others. Let's see what others we have here. Palantir. Again, Palantir is just kind of steady Eddie. Once that heavy move up, I still like this stock, even if you're buying at 85, but expect this stock to drop again. If it falls in that 80, in that where we at? In that 60, $70 range, I'm a buyer, regardless of what it does, even if it continues to fall. I'm a buyer in that range. I really do think this stock is going to be a player in the AI movement. And this is just long term play. You got to look at stuff like a long term play. Here, what else? Let's look at any other stuff. Uh, Palantir, let's look at any other companies here. Microsoft, always Netflix, another one. It's kind of been bouncing off. Same thing. A lot of these stocks all look the same, and it's almost like trade one, trade all. Everything is a movement. Netflix has been just doing some crazy moves over the last just month, just from going up 40 points, down 20 points, up 15 points, down 40 points. I mean, this stock has really have been volatile, but for volatility, there's always a reward if you're on the right side. And I think this stock right here, I'm definitely thinking is a $1,200 stock, but that's personal opinion. Google, Alphabet, same thing. All the stocks look the same. So you start seeing that we are really taking a look at what the weekend may offer, but we don't know. We don't know what it may offer. So let me stop the sharing here.